Light Yagami and Lelouch via Britannia are two of the most famous anime masterminds ever. Both of them wanted to change the world. Both of them believed the current system was broken, and both of them were willing to do things that most people could never do. Lie, manipulate, even sacrifice innocent lives. That's why so many people compare them. Because on the surface, their goals look kind of similar. A better world, a peaceful world, a world free from suffering, but when you look deeper, their goals were actually very different. One wanted a world ruled by justice, the other wanted a world that could move forward without him. So today we're going to look at Light's goal, Lelouch's goal, and which one was actually better in the end. So first of all, what is Light's goal? His goal is to create a world without criminals, punish anyone he believed was evil, become the symbol of justice, make people fear committing crimes, and build a perfect world under Kira. At first, Light's goal actually sounds good. A lot of people would agree that criminals should be punished. And when Kira first appeared, crime rates started dropping, people became scared, the world became more peaceful. But that's where the problem starts. Light slowly stopped asking, "What's right?" and started asking, "What do I want?" Anybody who got in his way became a target. Police? Target investigators? Target. Even innocent people sometimes became obstacles. Light wasn't just removing criminals anymore. He was removing anyone that threatened his power. That's why his goal changed over time. It started as justice, but slowly became control. Light wanted a world where everyone followed his rules. A world where he decided who deserved to live and who deserved to die. And in the end, Light didn't just want to create a better world. He wanted to become the god of that world. Secondly, what is Lelouch's goal? His goal is to destroy the corrupt Britannia Empire, protect Nunnally and the people he cared about, create a gentler world for future generations, take all the hatred of the world onto himself, unite people through one common enemy, sacrifice his own life for peace. At first, Lelouch's goal was simple. He wanted to destroy his father's world, the Britannia Empire, a world built on oppression, discrimination, and suffering. At the same time, he wanted to uncover the truth behind his mother's death. Who killed her? Why did it happen? And what was his father's role in all of it? Those questions became one of the main reasons he started his rebellion. However, everything started changing after Nunnally became involved. Lelouch realized his fight was no longer just about revenge. It was no longer only about exposing the truth. He wanted to create a world where Nunnally could live peacefully, a world where she wouldn't have to suffer because of war, politics, or the cruelty of the strong. As the story continued, Lelouch's goal kept growing bigger. What started as personal revenge slowly became something much larger. He wasn't just fighting for himself anymore. He was fighting for the future. And in the end, that led him to create the Zero Requiem, a plan where he would become the world's greatest enemy, so that everyone else could finally move forward together. Unlike Light, Lelouch never wanted to become a god. In fact, the closer he got to power, the more he understood how dangerous power really was. Everything Lelouch did started with one simple wish. He wanted a better world for Nunnally, a world where she could live peacefully without fear. But as time went on, his goal became bigger than himself. He realized that wars, hatred, and conflict would never end if people always had someone new to blame. So he came up with the Zero Requiem, a plan where he would become the most hated person in the world, a tyrant, a monster, someone everyone wanted gone, and when the world finally united against him, he accepted his own death. That's what makes Lelouch different. Light wanted to rule the new world. Lelouch wanted to create a new world and then leave it behind. He didn't need people to worship him. He didn't need people to remember him as a hero. All he wanted was a chance for the world to move forward, even if it meant nobody would ever understand his sacrifice. So what's the difference between their goals? This is where Light and Lelouch become completely different. At first, both of them wanted to change the world. Both believed the world was broken. Both thought the current system was unfair, and both were willing to use extreme methods to achieve their goals. That's why so many people compare them. But the deeper you look, the more different they become. Light wanted a perfect world under his control. Lelouch wanted a better world that could exist without him. Light believed that peace could only exist if people feared him. If Kira disappeared, the world might return to chaos. That's why Light could never stop. The world needed Kira, and Kira needed Light. His entire plan depended on him staying in power forever. Because of that, Light slowly became more selfish. The more power he gained, the more he believed only he could decide what was right. Eventually, his dream stopped being about justice. It became about maintaining control. Lelouch was the opposite. He understood that a world depending on one person could never truly be free. That's why Zero Requiem was so important. Instead of making people depend on him, he made himself the final enemy. He wanted the world to hate him. He wanted everyone to unite against him. And once that happened, he was willing to disappear. That's the biggest difference between them. Light wanted to become the ruler of the new world. Lelouch wanted to become the sacrifice for the new world. One wanted power. One was willing to throw power away. One wanted people to obey him forever. One wanted people to move forward without him. That's why their endings feel so different. When Light was about to lose everything, he begged for his life. When Lelouch was about to lose everything, he accepted it. Because Light's dream could not exist without Light. But Lelouch's dream only worked if Lelouch disappeared. And honestly, that's why I think Lelouch had the better goal. Not because he was a better person. Not because he never made mistakes. But because his goal was bigger than himself. In the end, who had the better goal? After looking at both goals, I think Lelouch had the better one. Not because he was a better person, and not because everything he did was right. Lelouch lied, manipulated people, started wars, and caused a lot of suffering. But the biggest difference is what he was fighting for. Light wanted to create a better world by putting himself above everyone else. He believed he should be the one deciding what is right and wrong. The world he wanted could only exist as long as Kira existed. Lelouch's goal was different. What started as revenge against Britannia slowly became a wish for a better future. A future where Nunnally and everyone else could live in peace. And in the end, he was willing to throw away everything he had to make that happen. His power, his reputation, even his life. That's why I think Lelouch had the better goal. Because his dream was never about ruling the world. It was about changing the world and then letting it move forward without him. And honestly, that's what makes Lelouch one of the most tragic and unforgettable characters in anime.